Today, I'll show you how I transformed this Barbie clock to an exquisite piece. I begin by removing the back cover of the clock, then its facing. The magic eraser worked wonders to remove the sticker residue, dirt, and grime from the clock. It's been 24 hours since I painted the frame of the clock, and for the most part everything has turned out well on it, except there are a few areas that I do have to work on. Beginning with the foot here, the primer collected here on the bottom, so I'm going to have to take this off, smooth it out, and redo that. I'm going to be as delicate as I possibly can because there's still some dampness to the clock, and you can see some of the paint on my hand here and a little bit over there, my fingers, but there's some wetness there and on the inside, and I still have to go back in with the primer and touch up that area there. I can still see some of the pink there, and let's see, I think there was someplace else I've got to touch up there. And I know that this doesn't matter, but me being a perfectionist, it does. The inside is just as important as the outside. So I'm going to have to go back in and redo this. The primer collected here on the inside just like it did on the foot of the clock, so I'm going to have to go back in there and redo this. I'm going to let this dry and go back in. I'll sand it and then I'll paint it again, and I can see some of the pink on the inside there that has to be covered, and the same way around here. And then it's cratered a little bit down here, so I'll have to take care of that as well. But so far it's turned out very nice, and I just wished I had been able to get this to turn out a little better, like this side here to turn out as well as this side did. But for the most part, it looks really nice, and it's turned out pretty well. And I'm going to let it dry for another day and a half before I do any more painting on it. This took about, I would say, about 3.5 coats to do to get it to this brightness. Some time ago, I scored this 1950s Marcel travel alarm clock, which measures 2 inches by 2¼ inches and uses 1 AA battery. As much as I hated destroying this beautifully crafted case, it was for the greater good of the project. One thing is for certain, the clock is guaranteed to work for years to come, and the piece itself will be one of a kind. A 2 1/8 inch by 3 7/8 inch piece of plywood is glued to the base of the clock, giving it a sturdier foundation. A piece of the case with the hinge attached was glued to the top of the clock, then a piece of wood cut to size was glued over it. Since the clock made the frame top heavy, rocks were glued in the bottom for even distribution. Espresso brown was applied to the clock. Since it was windy, it was placed in a box to prevent it from tipping over and allow the paint to spread evenly to prevent pooling around the bottom. A piece of brown paper was wrapped around the clock to keep the paint off. To give the clock an elevated look, 2 coats of treasure gold acrylic paint was applied. The clock is touched up with brown, then raw umber acrylic paints. Suede fabric is applied to the bottom of the clock, not only as a vintage style element, but also to keep it scratch resistant. Now the AA battery is put in. The clock keeps perfect time and the ticking has a beautiful sound. To elevate the clock further, nail decals were applied, the same technique used on the vessel sink. A link to that video will be in the description. A chime made using a matchstick and scrap basswood are glued to the face of the clock. Both pieces were painted treasure gold. The touched up areas received 1 coat of polyacrylic. Now the face of the clock. A 1 7/8 by 4 5/8 inch piece of plexiglass is glued to the face of the clock. For best results, use the clear tacky glue rather than E6000. If you enjoyed this installment of the Deluxe Reading Dreams series and all the content presented on this channel, do consider subscribing. And until next time, thank you so very much for watching.